They accused him. They judged him. And before the sun set, they cast him out of the village forever. On the far edge of this village lived a young man named Christopher. Christopher was an orphan. His parents had died years earlier in a mysterious accident that people whispered about but never truly explained. With no family, no protection, and no name to shield him, he grew up alone in a modest clay hut near the fields. He survived by working the soil, tending livestock, and accepting whatever labor others were unwilling to do. Despite hardship, Christopher carried a quiet strength. His smile was calm, his eyes steady, and his heart untouched by bitterness. Yet kindness alone was never enough in a place ruled by fear. Many villagers treated him coldly. Some mocked his orphanhood, others exploited his silence, and a few spread dark rumors, claiming his parents' fate was cursed, that misfortune followed his footsteps. Christopher heard it all, yet answered none of it. Still, he was not entirely alone. There was Maggie. Maggie belonged to one of the most influential families in the village. Unlike others, she saw Christopher not as a burden, but as a man shaped by resilience. She helped him quietly, sometimes with food, sometimes with words, often with presence alone. No promises were spoken, yet a deep understanding grew between them. But such bonds never escaped the eyes of power. The village was ruled by Zeus, a stern and calculating leader who maintained control through fear disguised as order. Zeus watched everything and everyone. To him, Christopher was not just a poor orphan, he was a potential threat. A man without loyalty to any family was a man who could inspire others. One afternoon, while Christopher worked alone in a distant field, he felt eyes upon him. Zeus stood far away, watching in silence. In that moment, Christopher sensed something shifting, an unseen storm gathering. Soon after, strange changes spread across the village. Conversations grew shorter. Smiles faded. Maggie stopped visiting as often. An invisible wall had risen between them. One evening, Maggie came to him in secret. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Be careful, Christopher. People are talking." "About what?" he asked. "They say you are using me, that you want power through my family." The words struck him harder than any blow. Maggie lowered her gaze. "I know it's not true, but my family and Zeus are pressuring me. I can't protect you anymore. Please, be careful." That same week, Zeus's tent was found destroyed in the night. No witnesses, no proof. By morning, the accusation was already decided. Whispers turned into shouts. Fingers pointed at Christopher. Someone claimed they saw him nearby. Others said he had motive. Fear did the rest. Zeus gathered the villagers and declared loudly, "There is only one man who would dare such an insult. A man with nothing to lose." Christopher was exiled before sunrise. With nothing but a small bag and unanswered pain, he walked into the desert. Days passed. Hunger followed him. Doubt tried to claim him. Yet he continued forward, driven by something deeper than survival. One evening, he met a wandering elder, Darrow, a man whose eyes carried the weight of many lifetimes. Without explanation, Darrow handed Christopher an old ring engraved with unfamiliar symbols. "This will open doors you do not yet see," the elder said. "Truth has many locks." That night, Christopher dreamed of Maggie standing beside flowing water, telling him not to surrender. Then Darrow appeared again, whispering one name. "Fulton. Find him in the northern mountains." Christopher obeyed. After days of struggle, he reached a hidden cave where Fulton lived, a man known only in legend. Fulton revealed what the village had buried for decades. Zeus's family had stolen land, silenced voices, and erased rightful owners. Christopher's parents had discovered the truth and paid the price. The ring was proof, a symbol of lost ownership and hidden crimes. Christopher returned, not in anger, but prepared. With Maggie's help, he gathered documents long hidden away. When the village assembled again, Christopher stepped forward. This time, he was not alone. The evidence spoke louder than his voice. One by one, the villagers remembered. Families recalled their losses. Fear cracked. Zeus fell, not by force, but by truth. He vanished soon after. What followed was not celebration, but rebuilding. Christopher refused power. Instead, he proposed shared leadership, fairness, and responsibility. Maggie stood beside him, encouraging voices long silenced, especially women. The village transformed. Years later, when the system stood strong, Christopher left quietly. He entrusted the ring to Maggie, saying, "Justice is not a throne. It is a duty." He disappeared into the horizon. Some say he moved on to other villages. Others say he became a story. The fall of Zeus did not immediately bring peace. When power collapses, it leaves behind silence. Heavy, uncertain silence. The villagers woke each morning unsure of what the new day would demand of them. Some feared chaos, others feared revenge, and many simply did not know how to live without a single voice commanding their choices. Christopher understood this better than anyone. He spent long hours walking among the people, not as a ruler, but as a listener. He sat beside farmers whose land had been stolen, elders whose voices had been ignored, and young men who had grown up believing obedience was survival. Each story carried pain, but also a fragile hope. One night, a group of men confronted him. "You destroyed the old order," one of them said. "What if this new path fails?" Christopher answered calmly, "Then we fail together and rebuild together." Fear kept this village alive, but it never let it live. Maggie worked tirelessly beside him. She organized gatherings, encouraged dialogue, and challenged traditions that had long gone unquestioned. For the first time, women spoke openly in village meetings, not as shadows, but as equals. Some resisted, but change had already taken root. Yet not everyone welcomed the transformation. Those who had benefited from Zeus's rule began spreading doubt. Anonymous warnings appeared. Doors were marked at night. One message left outside Christopher's home read, "Leave, or history will repeat itself." Christopher showed the note to the villagers the next morning. "This is not my battle alone," he said. "If you stand with me, fear has no place here." And they did. The village formed a council, not of the strongest, but of the most trusted. Decisions were debated, not dictated. Justice became slow, sometimes uncomfortable, but honest. Weeks passed. The land began to heal. Crops grew where emptiness once ruled. Children played freely, unaware of the shadows their parents had survived. One evening, the elder Daro returned briefly, watching from a distance. He spoke only one sentence before leaving again. "A seed planted in truth does not need its planter forever." That night, Christopher realized what his heart had already known. The village no longer needed him. Staying would turn him into what he once opposed, a symbol people relied on instead of themselves. So he chose to leave before his presence became authority. At dawn, he gave Maggie the ring. "Not as a relic," he said, "but as a reminder. Protect the truth, even from those who speak in its name." Maggie watched him disappear into the desert, understanding that some leaders are meant to pass through lives, not remain within them. Years later, travelers spoke of villages transformed by a quiet stranger, a man who carried no title, yet left justice behind him wherever he walked. And in Maggie's village, under the old tree at the center of the square, children still heard the story of Christopher, not as a legend, but as proof that even the forgotten can change the world. Don't forget to subscribe and like. There are more beautiful stories.